Hello again, everybody. Zacatech is here with my WWE Raw review for tonight. This Memorial Day Monday, May 25th, 2015. I hope everyone had a very happy and safe Memorial Day. Not only was this the Memorial Day version of Raw, it was also the last Raw before Elimination Chamber and the last Raw ever to be held at the renowned Nassau Coliseum. And by the way, I'm hoping I get my facts straight. This is the first time that Memorial Day Raw is ever held in the U.S. in a while. Felt like every Memorial Day Raw was always in fucking Canada. So yay for not being in Canada today. You know, they have an American holiday Raw and it's always in Canada. For this being the Memorial Day Raw, in the last one at the Nassau Coliseum, one of various venues who have hosted Raw in the past to be torn down in the next couple of years. Nassau's going to be torn down for renovation. And Joe Louis here in Detroit's going to be torn down in a couple of years to make room for that new sports arena in downtown Detroit. And of course, more importantly, this was the last one before Elimination Chamber, with only 2 weeks between Payback and Elimination Chamber, not a lot of buzz to build upon it. But for what it is, it was a fun one night, some decent action, some new segments added and matches added to Elimination Chamber, and some decent situations. Now, today was Memorial Day. People kind of forget the real meaning. Well, people do know the real meaning of Memorial Day, honoring those who have served and those who have died for us, whether or not you believe in what they fight for. People like to drink on these holidays. I bet you if everyone was playing a Memorial Day drinking game, or have a shot every time they mention the WWE Network, you'd be tipsy right now. I've earned more cheap plugs for the network than any other week. Knowing this is the last big week of May to be free new subscribers. In the chamber and all. So let's get down to business. With the authority coming down. Of course, we all know they had a sort of a verbal agreement with Dean Ambrose after he coaxed the authority into putting him in a title match against Seth Rollins this Sunday at the pay-per-view after threatening to smash Seth's head on a bunch of concrete cinder blocks like Seth did to Dean back in August. He still tried to do it anyway, but the authority thwarted him. So they came out to the ring, like I said, they said, yes, we have a verbal agreement, but we want it binding, in concrete. So they had a contract for Dean to sign by the end of the night. Seth had the honors. They asked Dean to come out to sign. Dean knew what he was getting himself set up for. He knew it was probably set up to be in a trap. All the authority was at the ring area. Kane, JJ Security, Seth, Stephanie, and Triple H. But as Dean was ready to face the Lions then, and try to sign his contract, he had a little bit of backup. Roman Reigns. Now, I love the Shield guys, and I love their individuality and trying to separate themselves. But here's the thing. Even though they're trying to separate themselves and trying to have separate solo careers, they're always, unfortunately, living under the shadow of the authority. That shadow, the shadow of the Shield is still lingering. You know, that mini Shield reunion was awesome, but they need to break out that shadow once and for all. But still, it's nice to see them colliding. Like they would in an impromptu tag team match. Since Ambrose and Rollins, since former fellow Shield man, Roman Reigns wanted to fight, we had ourselves an impromptu tag. Kane and Rollins teaming up against Rollins, says supposed opponent, hopeful opponent, and Elimination Chamber. The Ambrose and, of course, Roman Reigns. I love the New Jersey crowd. Like, tri-state area crowds. New Jersey, New York. They're always good. During Rollins' speech, you heard Ambrose. Ambrose is getting his over right now. I'm happy that he's getting a little push again. Getting back in the main title pitch after floundering a little bit in the mid-card. So it was a fun little tag team match to kick off Raw tonight, even though we've probably seen this a million times. But hey, that's WWE for you. Yeah, except seeing things a million times. There's some we like to see a million times. Others we don't like to see. Like Hornswoggle and Java Guerrero. We don't want to remember that, don't we? But I'll probably be on some Too Hot for TV later on the network. Now I'm cheap plugging. Now I gotta stop it. Anyway. Fun match. Ambrose and Rollins, his former Shield brethren as well. Reigns had the upper hand for early going. Some double team moves. But then, of course, Rollins came back in the game with some big flying moves of his own. Big kicks. Big insecurities. Kane trying to do his part, but Kane was left to duel with Reigns on the outside, as Rollins and Ambrose were left on the inside, should I say. As Rollins was setting up the big moves, he did some insecurities. Ambrose were coming with the big clothesline, which was blocked by Rollins. He was even setting up at one point to do the pedigree, his new finishing move, in homage to Triple H since they took away their curve stomp. Still stupid. But Ambrose countered it with the backslide. And a 1-2-3 victory, as Dean Ambrose would pin the WWE World Championship in the ring in a tag team affair. And the Authority was fuming, but they would have the last laugh, or so they thought, as later on we see Dean Ambrose being pestered by J&J Security to try to sign the contract. It was kind of a trap, as Ambrose would beat up on J&J Security until it seemed like a cameraman inadvertently pushed into him. Ambrose punched him, knocking out the camera guy after the camera guy knocked into him. And we found out later from a somewhat internet video from an employer that Seth Rollins inadvertently pushed the camera guy in behind Ambrose so he could find a way to get Ambrose out of his hair and don't let him be able to sign the contract to officially bind the match at Elimination Chamber. So if the cameraman punched, they decided to hoax him into pressing charges against Ambrose to send him to jail for the evening, to prevent him from signing the contract at the end of the night. We all thought the Authority had everything well in hand, but as we shall see, Authority, sometimes they win, but sometimes they lose. Now let's get down to our next matchup. We had matches involving all 6 men, involving in the Elimination Chamber match for the vacated IC Championship. The first 2 would face off. Rusev, who is now being once again built from Bulgaria, no longer a Russian sympathizer, back to being the Bulgarian brute since getting rid of Lana, took on R-Truth in a quick little squasher. Blink and miss. Despite Truth's high little offense, big kick, accolade, tappy victory for Rusev. But Rusev ain't exactly over Lana yet. Even though he was the one to get rid of her by treating her so badly, making the fans want to cheer her. Like I said, I'm using the Mark Merrill Sable reference to think about comparing situations with this Lana Rusev situation. Of course, you know who's playing what role. Lana playing the Sable, Rusev playing the Mark Merrill role. The jealous, abusive type. But Rusev trying to have some heart. After he destroyed R-Truth, he wanted Lana to come out to talk. Please. Now, Lana in my mind was a good mouthpiece for Rusev. And a good manager. Getting rid of Lana was kind of a decent decision, but on Rusev's part, it's kind of a bad decision because he's not that best of speaking English. I say Rusev's voice to me is, it sounds almost like Great Khali's voice if Khali can actually speak proper English. Rusev's voice. You, Lana, me want you, please. Rusev, Khali voice. They almost, like, the voices almost sound the same. But at least Rusev speaking proper English. I'll give him credit, but he still needs a proper mouthpiece. That's not as, like, even if you find somebody to replace him, it won't compare to Lana. So Lana came out. Rusev wasn't happy with Lana, who kissed Dolph Ziggler not once but twice. He tried to get it back on his side. They shook hands at one point, looking like it was a ruse. But it was just like, say that you were wrong. And then Lana's like, I did everything for you. Everything I did it for you. Nice Bryan Adams reference, honey. Everything I do it for you. Anyway. Lana said, you did say you're not crazy. I'm not crazy. And then Rusev once again lost it. Once again went from, oh, I want you back, Lana, to, I don't want you, bitch, go away. And then here comes Dolph Ziggler, and he planted a big one on Lana. We need to delve into their relationship more, but it is interesting to see Lana get together with Dolph. Who, I think I haven't noticed this. I've been noticing by his outfits, and I haven't really mentioned this on air on my videos. And as you see by my shirt, it's referencing the fact that Dolph, like me, If you've seen from some of his outfits and trunks, especially tonight, he wore a trunk that said, "Looks a kill," from Motley Crue. One of my all-time favorite bands is one of his. Hey, now I don't feel bad being a stinker like Britney Spears and Motley Crue like Dolph Ziggler does. Makes me a big fan of his. And I met him too. Met Dolph. So, there you go. We would see Dolph in action later on. But till then, we had our next two competitors for the Elimination Chamber match and the IC title match. Two more competitors from that match will compete. Ryback against King Barrett. Two former members of Nexus colliding. Interesting. Great match, decent match with these guys. Barrett tried to go for the damaged ribs that Ryback was handed by Bray Wyatt back at Payback after he did a big splash off the middle rope onto Ryback on the floor. Despite Barrett's best efforts to target those ribs and go for the bullham at one point, Ryback was a hungry man. Not only does he want the IC Championship, he wants to eat Barrett alive, which he almost did with a big meat hook, and of course, the shell shock countering the attempt at the bullhammer, and 1-2-3 victory for Ryback. Now Ryback gets more momentum on his side again. I've said it earlier, WWE likes to screw men's momentum. I thought Ryback was the guy that's going to go beat Rusev when he was US champion, which never happened because he slowed his momentum down after he got storyline fired back in January in the aftermath of the Authority's return. After they were gone for a couple weeks. After the whole Survivor Series thing. So there you go. Now, speaking of the Elimination Chamber, we have a new match added. I thought they're going to face off tonight, stemming from last week. But we're going to see Bo Dallas take on Neville this Sunday. I'm hearing rumors. I'm talking to a friend of mine. His name is Alfonso. I mentioned him on my NXT review. Not by name, but I'm going to mention my name here. Hi, Alfonso. He and I were talking today. He said there's rumors about Bo Dallas going to be in cahoots with the New Day. That would be funny. I'd love to see that. I can see the t-shirts now. Believe in the New Day. I love that. But until then, we have Bo Dallas watching Neville tonight, taking on Stardust. Like Damian Mandow, Cody Rhodes is in the same spot as Mandow. Not being himself. Being a stupid gimmick that's now getting old. Both Damian Sandow and Cody Rhodes need to do one thing. Go back to being themselves. Bring back Rhodes Scholars. They can bring back the primetime players. They can bring back Rhodes Scholars. And don't screw it up this time. Let them be tag team champions. Anyway, despite Stardust's best efforts, and even with a distraction for Bo Dallas being there, Neville delivered the big move. Big super kicks to Stardust, leading up to the Red Arrow. And with TV star The Arrow in attendance, who kind of badmouthed Stardust, Steve Arnell, the Red Arrow was delivered in a 1-2-3 victory for Neville, trying to get momentum before his match against Bo Dallas. But Bo Dallas, who was at ringside like I mentioned, snuck in the ring, clipped in the ankle once again of Neville, and attacked him again like he did last week, which stemmed the situation and made the match happen for this Sunday. So Bo was in celebration mode. Full on winning, But will it be celebratory on Sunday? We shall see. I hope Neville wins, though. I'm glad they're not the pre-show match. I'm glad Neville's on the main card again. The pre-show is going to be Miz TV with Daniel Bryan, who has to be in attendance as his IC Championship will change hands to a new title holder in the Elimination Chamber match. Speaking of that match, the last two competitors from that match to fight tonight would face off. So I was like, okay, we saw Rusev Truth. We saw the match between Ryback and Bad News Barrett. That means we're going to see kind of a rubber match between Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler. Sheamus won at Payback. Ziggler won at Extreme Rules. So now it's like the rubber match. Fun match. I've seen these two wrestle a couple of times last couple of weeks in big action. Good action between both these good guys. And I was like, okay, good action with Ziggler delivering the zigzag at one point. Well, trying to go for the zigzag. He did go for the famous one. Didn't nail it. And Ziggler was going for other big moves. Sheamus was going for the... He did good at Irish Coast backbreaker. Setting up broke kick a couple times. But he did connect it, following a distraction from Rusev coming out. Now, I should have thought that Rusev was going to get involved with the whole Lana thing and all. And Lana was on the ramp watching as well. So Rusev came down, distracted Ziggler, got super kicked. But Ziggler walked right into a broke kick and 1-2-3 victory for Mr. Sheamus. And then Sheamus is like, it's all yours, Rusev. Basically handed the down and out Ziggler on a silver plate for Mr. Rusev to pound upon with some big kicks and, of course, setting him up in the accolade with Lana standing at ringside. And Rusev was probably saying in Bulgarian or Russian, "This is your pretty boy. You like a pretty boy now." So there you go. With that, these two will be in the chamber match along with Sheamus, Ryback, Benny's Barrett, King Barrett, and R-Truth. They will all collide this Sunday in the chamber match. Now on to the John Cena Open Challenge tonight for the U.S. Championship. It's now official. Cena and Kevin Owens will be just a champion versus champion match. No titles on the line. Which is kind of a cool thing. Because at least Kevin Owens can win without Cena losing the title. Because I think Cena should lose. In my humble opinion. Because I don't want Owens to be another crony for Cena to beat up. Another crony heel to be beat up like Rusev, who's losing his momentum, trying to regain it with or without Lana. John Cena sucks. And I even said that this Sunday, we're not going to hear the usual, let's go Cena, Cena sucks. It'll be, let's go Cena, fight, Owens, fight. And Cena mentioned that. But he was ready for Owens. But he was going to get ready for the Open Challenge tonight. So, with that, we saw the Entourage guys show up. Who got booed heavily. Hey, any celebrities show up that no one knows, they get booed heavily. Although, I've never seen the show. They're based upon friends of Mark Wahlberg's who I've seen on Wahlburgers. So, one of them, who's a New Yorkian, a Long Islander, introduced another Long Island, well, a New Yorker, Long Islander, waiting to accept Cena's challenge. Seen a couple signs of him tonight. You know, Ryder is warm. For old time's sake. So I saw Ryder signs. We're in Long Island. It's the last wall in Long Island. So why not have Zack Ryder on? He was on wall last week. Beating the squash with Fandango as its active partner. But it's still cool to see Zack Ryder show up and accept the Cena Open Challenge. These two were broskies in the past. Even though, yes, spoiler alert, Ryder lost as usual. He looked awesome though. I hope to God that WWE doesn't. But WWE won't never do anything with Ryder. But Ryder looked good though at one point. There was a Bolski boot. At least they let him do his finishers. I'll give WWE credit for not letting Zack Ryder get squashed again. Easily by Cena. At least making him look good. Giving him the Bolski boot and the Rough Rider. But every time you see a Cena Open Challenge, we love the challenges, but we don't know the ending. Cena's gonna win. He's gonna win. No matter who it is, Cena will win. I'm gonna have a preppy mood tonight. I'm crazy. So then, despite Zack's best efforts, the inevitable came. Cena, F.U. 1, 2, 3, Cena wins. Retains the U.S. Championship, but helps Zack Ryder out. In a fun match, though. Love him or hate him, Cena needs to get a lot more credit than he does. Everyone credits the other guy in Cena's recent Open Challenge matches. But it takes two to tango. I think I said that last week. That Cena has put on much of the match as the other opponent. You know, Cena helps put the match be good as much as the opponent. But as he was helping Zack Ryder to the back with the Entourage fellas, I was like, are we going to see a KO Kevin Owens appearance? Yes, we did! He came from behind. Beat the crap out of Cena, setting up for the pop-up powerbomb in a brand new Fight Owens Fight t-shirt. Which I'm glad they made it. Because they got the, they got the KO shirt. But I'm happy they made a proper Fight Owens Fight t-shirt. So, it doesn't matter if he wins or lose. Kevin Owens is going to look awesome. He looked awesome last week. Powerbomb with Cena hell. And like he did last week, he stomped on the U.S. Championship. And trolling Cena. Hell, he wore his t-shirt at the NXT Unstoppable event this past Wednesday. So, there you go. Kevin Owens, he'll fight Owens fight, but really win Owens win. But no matter what, he'll kill Owens kill. Take this. I love Zack Ryder. Not only is the same name as me, but hey, woo woo woo, you know it. Great to see him though. So, looking forward to seeing Owens take on Cena on Sunday, win or lose. Now we have our next matchup involving one of the competitors in the Triple Threat Divas title match that will also be at the pay-per-view. Tamina taking on Paige. We saw Paige's return last week following an attack from Naomi when she won the Battle Royal, starting the Naomi heel turn. Paige is kind of the rightful number one contender. She never got a proper shot since Naomi took her out to write off storyline-wise for a movie. So as we saw Paige return last week, and now we have a triple threat involving Paige, Naomi, and Nikki. I think Naomi will finally become Divas champion Sunday. Because it means triple threat means no DQ. Which means interference with Tamina is legal. Unlike tonight when Naomi got involved in the ending of the Tamina Paige match. I thought referee turned his eye for a second on Naomi. He kind of botched that. I thought he looked right at Naomi and then pretending he saw nothing. I thought that. That's what the angle told me. It looked from that angle, looking at the referee did see Naomi interfere. Might be a botch, who knows the story. But after Naomi's little attack on Paige, Whitman Bellatrix also at ringside providing commentary. Despite Paige's best efforts, Tamina, with that distraction, would capitalize with a big Samoan drop in the 1-2-3 victory for Tamina, giving herself and more importantly Naomi the momentum in her favor, ready for the title match this Sunday. Now, this Triple Threat Divas title match, we'll see if they give the Divas enough time and effort like they have to the NXT women lately. Especially Bayley, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky. They had a great fatal 4-way a couple months ago. And I hope they give the Divas a chance, a true chance on the main roster. Especially if Bayley and Charlotte come in, which I'm hearing they may pretty soon. Hey, they're bringing up a lot of NXT people. Neville, the Dragons, which I'll get to in a second. And then we got Kevin Owens being brought up. So let's start bringing some NXT women in, people. Bring in Charlotte. Bring in Bayley. But after the NXT road trip. Because I'm going to be going to the Cleveland show in a couple weeks. So I can't wait for that. Now on to our next scenario, which involved the competitors and the tag team elimination chamber match. I was like, okay. We saw the competitors from the elimination chamber match for the IC championship compete. I was hoping to see some tag team competitors from the elimination chamber match for that title compete. Well, we got more than that. Kane came out and made it a 10-on-3 handicap match. New Day against all the members of the teams that were going to face them at the pay-per-view. Lucha Dragons, Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, Ascension, Los Matadores, and Primetime Players. It was kind of a clusterfuck. It was really much of a match. It was more like a segment. It was like, the referee threw it out because of DQ, and all the people were doing all the big finishers, double team moves, and all that, big flying moves. Ending with Lucha Dragons flying over everybody. After Ascension near the Fall of Man and was doing all the finishers, but New Day avoided the skirmish and stood up victorious after winning only by DQ, and the referee threw the match out. But they weren't standing celebrating for long as Tyson Kidd and Cesaro came back in the ring, drop kicked them, and delivered their swing drop kick double team, which I love so much. So there you go. Now on to our next scenario. The last segment of the night, involving the Authority coming out, talking about the whole Dean Ambrose thing. This is when we found out that it was kind of a setup. That Rollins was the one that pushed the camera guy inadvertently into Ambrose to coax him into punching him so he can get arrested. So he wouldn't be able to sign a contract for the title match at the Elimination Chamber. So Authority was celebrating the fact that Ambrose still hadn't got out of jail yet. Or so they thought. As they were gloating about Seth not having an opponent since the contract wasn't signed, here comes Roman Reigns, beating up on the Authority. And as he was calling, the chants of "We Want Ambrose" came in to the ring from the fans, despite Wayne's best efforts, like I said, the numbers got to him. Until the paddy wagon started arriving. As the paddy wagon arrived, if you could see from the corner of your eye, while Wayne's was caught laughing. Kind of like the same face he made when Brock Lesnar beat the fuck out of him and took him to Suplex City back in WrestleMania. But this time he was smiling because Dean Ambrose was out of jail. He was the one driving the paddy wagon. I know Dean Ambrose is getting compared to a lot of people. He's compared to Rodney Piper for his craziness. I think he's the new Stone Cold. Anti-authority. Fugitive authority. Although I'd love to see Dean Ambrose drive a Zamboni. When he threw a paddy call, with the paddy wagon, with the police gear and the Billy Club, came to the ring, started annihilating the authority with the Billy Club, nightstick, what may you want to call it, and started pounding on Rollins. Until Rollins escaped from further damage, leaving the other cronies in the authority to get pounded. With Kane getting speared from Reigns, or should I say Superman punch from Reigns, getting near the kendo stick. I wish it was a kendo stick, but it was a Billy Club, nightstick, whatever you want to call it. Mercury and Noble being knocked out with a double spear, and Kane getting near with a Superman punch, leading to dirty deeds from Ambrose. And Rollins and Rip Rage and Stephanie were looking on in fear as they saw that the contract was lying on the floor. So in sheer fear and aghast, they saw that Dean Ambrose, out of jail and all, signed the contract, so it's legally binding, that it's legally official, that Dean Ambrose will be facing off against Seth Rollins for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship this Sunday at Extreme Rules as follow-up. The follow-up to Payback, should I say, Elimination Chamber. I know Rollins is here and he's part of Authority, but can we please get a Rollins match without any interference from the Authority at all? Minimal or not. It ruined the match at Extreme Rules. Yes, there was a lot of interference during Payback, but I felt it didn't ruin it as bad as it did during Extreme Rules. But can we please try to get little or no interference from Authority, please? And the pay-per-view, I know Rollins needs to win by a heel. Like, you want Rollins to heel cheating to make him heel and all, but come on, please let him win clean. No Authority interference. Or also, on that extent, no Reigns interference either. So we'll see if there is interference or not, which there probably will, but I'm hoping there won't be. So there you go. But still would be a fun match, though. They had great matches over in October, especially Hell in a Cell match, SummerSlam, the Raw match. So I'm glad to see him wrestle again, this time for the title. And I said earlier, glad to see Ambrose getting a big little push. The fans love him still, and I'm happy that he's getting himself back in the main picture, following floundering in the mid-card for a little while. So happy to see him back in the title hunt. And glad to see O now for a while. So, there you go with that. That is it for my Raw review for tonight. Thank you very much for watching. With all that in mind, y'all been attacked by the review from Zach. Once again, thank you very much. Salute the troops. On this Memorial Day, happy Memorial Day once again. Hope everyone had a very happy and safe one like I did. See ya!